Should there be stricter laws for protecting endangered species? The mountain mist frog, the Chinese paddlefish, the ivory-billed woodpecker. The three animals I just named are three of seven animals that we have lost in the last year, and I'm guessing most of us haven't heard of any of them. The loss of many species that share the same earth as us, gone, never to inhabit the place they called home. With so many other species being critically endangered with little to no help of stabilizing their populations, we are at risk of losing so many of the beautiful creatures who have been on this earth just as long as we have. Overhunting, climate change, and pollution being the main causes of extinction for almost all endangered species, there's truly only one factor we can point a finger at, and that is all of us as members of the human race. This is a shared earth and we are not alone, and I am here to state my side on why I believe we as humans should have stricter laws for protecting endangered species and wildlife as a whole. I'm going to touch on ways to make conservation easier, simple things we can do to help, and punishment for those who do not see these creatures as important as themselves. In the world we live in, ways to make tasks much easier and much easier to turn a profit. The first thing that comes to my mind when thinking of something that fits this description is commercial fishing and hunting. Fishing was a necessity when it came to the survival of families, villages, and entire countries because that was the only way to supply food. But as recently as the 1960s, commercial fishing has become a way of fishing that makes it so easy to obtain large amounts of fish and other sea creatures with much less hassle than casting a line and waiting for a fish to bite. Due to the large amounts of commercial fishing that take place around the world, many species have gone extinct and some are on the brink of extinction due to the overfishing of them. The Atlantic bluefin tuna and the sturgeon, just to name a few, are two of many marine species that have very little time left to be saved from the overfishing done by commercial fishing companies. Overfishing species of marine life is only one way that sea creatures are negatively affected by this practice. The nets that are used in commercial fishing are a danger in themselves to almost any creature that calls the water its home. Being accidentally caught in the nets most of the time leads to the death of many fish and marine species because they can go unnoticed once the net is brought up. Also, many times commercial fishing lines have been cut and left in the water, which has led to the intense population drop of one marine mammal, the vaquita. The vaquita, which is a species of porpoise, is critically endangered with little to no hope of saving. There is an estimate of 10 to 13 left in the world today, and more than half of those deaths can be attributed to uh, being caught in nets left by commercial fishing boats. With deaths to these animals, we could potentially lose many species that play a large role in their ecosystem, and that could have a major effect on the human race. For example, the whale shark plays a very important role in the ecosystem, and they are one of the main victims that get caught in fishing nets left by commercial fishermen. Since the whale shark is on the list of endangered species, the role that they play in the ecosystem could be in jeopardy. Since whale sharks are in danger, the plankton that they eat would reproduce to a threatening extent, creating algae blooms that would produce extremely dangerous toxins that could sicken and even kill people. This is a direct effect of the dangers of commercial fishing that takes place all around our world's oceans. Although overfishing and the practice of commercial fishing has had a huge impact on many major species within the oceans of our world, there is still another major component that plays in the extinction of species caused by humans, and that is deforestation. Deforestation occurs all around the world, and it has for many years. In a world that is forever expanding with new shopping centers, schools, and housing complexes, there's a need for more space to house these buildings. The heads of these companies who set up the plans to tear down trees, lay concrete, and fill in streams either don't fully understand the damage they are causing or they simply don't care due to the money they will make from doing it. One animal that is heavily affected by this act of deforestation is an animal that shares 97% of its DNA, and we all carry the same DNA inside of ourselves. The animal is the orangutan. The loss of the orangutan would be a major loss, and not only because they are one of our closest relatives, but because they play a crucial role in the environment. The orangutan are sometimes referred to as the gardeners of the forest due to the way they disperse and maintain the health and well-being of the entire forest ecosystems they inhabit. Without their help, many forests would not be able to thrive or recover after being chopped down in turn resulting in negative climate change and changes in our oxygen levels here on Earth. With the role the orangutan plays being so vital to the health of this planet, we need to protect them in order to protect our forests, which keeps the air we breathe clean. With the previously stated issues being so vital to the health and safety of our lives on this planet, there are many ways that they could be solved. And the first way that we can ensure that we can conserve the animals that play such a critical role in the entirety of Earth's ecosystems is by handing down stricter punishment for those who go against the ways of conservation. In the US, the punishment for killing or causing direct harm to any endangered species is a fine that ranges anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000. With this being the case, the rules are stating that you could end the bloodline of an entire species and it would only result in a monetary fine, which does not seem to be a deterrent for those who have committed such acts. Instead of pecuniary punishments, jail time is something much harsher and something that most people don't want to mess around with. This would be a fitting punishment because the irreversible damage that you could cause to our ever growing and expanding Earth by harming these endangered species. When it comes to conservation, many people don't know or understand the many ways that they could help the cause. There are things you can do, such as planting trees, using alternative energy sources, and reducing water usage to make certain you are doing your part in protecting the Earth. Along with this, there are many ways that the government could help to protect the wildlife of the world, and that is by setting up hunting restrictions around the world. There are over 200 species of mammals in the world that are endangered due to overhunting, and most of this hunting is legalized by the governments in all countries. Stopping the needless hunting of these wild species can ensure that they will die naturally and let the circle of life take place. Conservation is something that has just become a necessity throughout the world and something that a lot of people do not have an interest in. When people start to realize that we are losing species at an alarming rate, the hope is that we can come together and make a change before it's too late. To make sure people understand the extent of the damage they could cause, being harsher to offenders could be the disincentive that the Earth needs to heal from the irreparable damage that we have caused.